Have you ever felt it? A persistent sense of being drained, unmotivated, with that strange, hollow feeling of emptiness that seems to linger after certain private habits. What if I told you that this feeling is not just in your head? What if I told you that within you, deep in the unseen layers of your own body, lies a source of eternal youth that very few know about, a power so immense that it holds the key to your physical vitality, your mental clarity, and your personal magnetism. A force that, depending on how you understand and interact with it, can either be the source of your greatest strength or the cause of your deepest weakness. Today, we journey into the complex and often misunderstood world of sexual psychology. We are not speaking of the superficial analyses you might find in textbooks, but of a deeper, more ancient understanding of the most powerful energy a human being possesses. Since ancient times, Taoist masters and the alchemists of the world's wisest civilizations knew something that modern society has almost completely forgotten. They knew that sexual energy is the most concentrated essence of our life force. It is not merely a biological impulse for procreation. It is the primordial elixir that, if understood, preserved, and transformed, can revitalize the body, strengthen the mind, and prolong life itself. However, this same energy, when squandered or released unconsciously, has a profound impact on your energy, your mental state, and your entire spiritual journey. The more you feed a cycle of unconscious release, the more you lose your precious vital force. This creates a state of vulnerability and weakness, leaving you feeling that your life is stuck, that your energy is always low, and that your connection to the divine feels distant and muted. So, we stand at a crossroads, a fundamental choice point in our understanding of the self. On one path lies the psychology of depletion, a life of quiet desperation, energetic drainage, and spiritual disconnection. On the other path lies the psychology of empowerment, a life of conscious choice, where this same energy is transformed not into a source of weakness, but into the very fuel for your personal transformation. In this extensive exploration, we will uncover one of the greatest spiritual secrets of our time. We will understand the deep energetic and psychological impacts of misusing our most potent energy. We will delve into the ancient wisdom that teaches us how to transmute this raw power into vitality and youth. And most importantly, we will learn how to break free from the cycles that keep us weak, and how to reclaim the strength, clarity, and divine connection that has always been our birthright. This is the hidden landscape of sexual psychology, a journey into the forces that shape our inner world, our health, and our very destiny. Part 1. The Psychology of Depletion, the Internal Drain. Let us first walk the path that so many tread unknowingly. It is a path defined not by conscious choice but by habit, by impulse, and by a profound lack of awareness. It begins with a feeling, a subtle yet persistent sense of being drained. It's the chronic excessive fatigue that no amount of sleep can seem to cure. It's the pervasive lack of motivation, a deep-seated unwillingness to pursue the very goals that once set your soul on fire. And beneath it all, that strange, gnawing sense of emptiness begins to creep in, a feeling that something vital is missing. This feeling is not an illusion. It is the first sign of a deep energetic depletion, a signal that your most precious resource is being systematically drained away from within. The chosen ones, those souls who carry within them a powerful and potent energy, are especially sensitive to this loss. This energy, which some traditions call Kundalini or spiritual essence, is not merely symbolic. It is a real and tangible force that sustains your spiritual connection and your mission in this world. When this sacred energy is strong and balanced, you feel more energized, mentally clear, intuitively sharp, and firmly grounded in your purpose. But when it is drained or misused, clear signs of weakening begin to appear in your life. And this is precisely what happens when one falls into the trap of uncontrolled masturbation. You must understand this critical point. Each and every time you release this powerful energy unconsciously, without a sacred intention or a deep state of awareness, a significant part of your vital force is lost. This loss is not just a physical event. It has a direct and immediate impact on your spiritual vibration, the very frequency at which your soul resonates. Have you ever noticed that after this specific act you feel utterly exhausted? Not just tired, but hollowed out, as if something has been literally sucked out of you. That feeling is not just a psychological quirk or a flicker of guilt. It is a real, measurable energetic depletion that is taking place within your subtle body. This constant depletion has dire consequences for your spiritual well-being. It creates a state of profound fragility and vulnerability. Your spiritual connection begins to weaken. God, or the divine, communicates with us through a connection that goes far beyond mere words. It is a deep vibration, a frequency that brings us profound protection, unwavering clarity, and direct spiritual guidance. But this divine connection doesn't happen by chance. It must be nurtured and kept in a state of balance. When your energy is constantly wasted, that sacred connection inevitably begins to weaken. The habit, especially when fueled by fantasies or content loaded with heavy, dense energy, creates a very real barrier between you and the sacred. It is crucial to understand that this barrier is not just a psychological construct. It is not just in your mind. It is an energetic barrier. Each time you release your vital, creative energy unconsciously, your personal vibration lowers. And as your vibration drops, your ability to perceive and feel the high frequency of the divine presence also decreases. It is as if a thick gray veil is placed between you and the spiritual world. This veil clouds your mental clarity and makes it incredibly difficult to receive the answers to the questions you hold in your heart. It becomes harder to notice the subtle signs the universe is sending you, or even to feel that same profound sense of peace that comes from a strong divine connection. This spiritual disconnection then leads to the second major consequence, the weakening of your natural protection. When a chosen one is spiritually strong and vibrant, their energy creates a natural, powerful shield around them. It is an invisible protective field of high-frequency light that blocks negative influences and prevents dense energies from interfering in their life. But when this vital energy is constantly being drained away, this protective barrier, this sacred shield, begins to break. And that is when you become vulnerable to energetic attacks and negative spiritual interference. This can manifest as feeling significantly more anxious, restless, or even depressed without any obvious external cause. Small things in your life begin to go wrong. Unexpected difficulties and obstacles seem to arise out of nowhere, and the feeling of being hopelessly stuck in life becomes more pronounced and obvious. This is not a coincidence. It is cause and effect. When your spiritual protection is weakened, you become more susceptible to thoughts of doubt and self-sabotage. You begin to question yourself more and more. You start to lose confidence in your path, in your abilities, and in your mission. Then come the heavy emotions, waves of guilt, fear, and anguish, which serve to further drain your already depleted energy reserves. Little by little, your overall vibration drops lower and lower, and before you know it, you find yourself trapped in a vicious, self-perpetuating cycle of low frequency. This psychology of depletion directly sabotages your ability to fulfill your purpose. The chosen ones have grand missions to fulfill in this lifetime. Deep down, there has always been a calling inside of you, a persistent, quiet sense that you came to this world to do something greater. But fulfilling that sacred mission requires one essential ingredient above all others: discipline. And that is exactly what this habit insidiously robs from you. Repetitive masturbation rewires your brain. Every time you give in to this impulse, your nervous system releases a flood of dopamine, the neurotransmitter that is linked to pleasure and the brain's reward system. But over time, your brain gets used to this easy, instantaneous rush of pleasure. It becomes addicted to it. And as a result, it begins to actively avoid any activities that require sustained effort, patience, and discipline. Have you noticed how, after indulging in this habit, you feel lazier and more apathetic? Suddenly, everyday tasks that you used to handle with ease now seem like monumental chores. Procrastination becomes your default mode of operation, and that fiery drive you once had for your own spiritual growth seems to evaporate into thin air. This happens because your brain is being conditioned to seek instant gratification instead of committing to the longer, more meaningful process that lead to real growth. If before you felt a natural urge to study, to meditate, to seek spiritual knowledge and to evolve as a person, now those same activities seem dull and uninteresting. Little by little, you begin to neglect your mission. What was once a burning priority in your heart now becomes something you constantly postpone, something you tell yourself you'll get to later, a later that never seems to come. This is the psychology of depletion, a downward spiral of energetic loss, spiritual disconnection, weakened protection, and a forgotten purpose. It is a quiet prison of the self, but it is a prison from which you can escape. Part 2. The Psychology of Empowerment, a Conscious Choice. Now, let us turn our gaze to the other path, a path that is not defined by unconscious habit, but by conscious, deliberate choice. This is the psychology of empowerment. It begins not with an act of repression, but with a profound decision to explore a different way of being, a life where sexual energy is not an enemy to be silenced, but a powerful ally to be understood and transformed. Have you ever wondered what really happens to your body and mind when you choose to live without sex? Not because of guilt, trauma, or repression, but as a conscious choice. It is a decision so profound that it has the power to change everything: your thoughts, your energy, and even your very sense of self. This is the life of those who choose celibacy or conscious moderation, not as a punishment, but as a path to transformation. At first, this path is not easy. The mind, conditioned by years of habit, rebels. Desire whispers in the background, memories surface, and fantasies knock at the door. The body, too, demands what it believes it needs. In these early stages, challenges can arise. Irritability, insomnia, and even waves of profound sadness can appear. After all, for many, sex was once an outlet, a safety valve for emotional pressure. When that door closes, other inner doors begin to open. Sometimes these doors open to our old fears, our forgotten wounds, and our most hidden insecurities. Celibacy does not chase away these inner demons. On the contrary, it invites those demons into a direct and unavoidable dialogue. It is at this critical juncture that many people give up. But for those who persist, for those who have the courage to face what lies within, something begins to shift. Slowly, almost imperceptibly, the vast reservoir of energy that once fueled desire starts to transform. This energy doesn't die, it is never destroyed, it simply changes its direction. It turns inward, and when that happens, the entire inner landscape of the person changes with it. People who walk this path for a significant time often describe a strange and wonderful clarity that descends upon them. It's as if dozens of busy, noisy browser tabs in their mind have suddenly been closed. The constant, underlying noise of modern life begins to fade away. That perpetual restlessness, the state of always waiting for something, for someone, for a message, a meeting, a touch, it simply disappears. And in the space that is left behind, something new and precious begins to grow. Focus, a deep sense of presence, and an unshakable inner calm. This is not magic. It is a process, but those who persist through it discover something truly extraordinary. A space of immense power, of profound self-control, and a quality of freedom that very few people ever get to experience. This newfound power is independent of any other person, place, or thing. Some describe this experience as a great withdrawal of the soul, a homecoming. It's as if the mind, for the first time, is finally returning fully to the body, inhabiting it completely. It's as if, without the constant background noise of sexual desire, one can finally hear what had previously been silent. The quiet voice of intuition, the wellspring of creativity, and a palpable connection to something much, much greater than the individual self. This is precisely why so many of history's great artists, Sages, spiritual leaders, and even inventors have practiced periods of abstinence throughout their lives. They did not do this out of a hatred for sex or the body, but because they understood a profound secret, that the stillness of the body at certain moments opens the doors of the mind. And it is in that sacred stillness that insights, revelations, and new directions emerge. This is the psychology of empowerment. It is the journey of diving deep into the ocean of yourself to discover what remains when the turbulent waves of desire finally subside. And what remains can surprise even the most skeptical among us. It is the discovery of a power that comes not from seeking pleasure outside, but from cultivating presence within. Part 3. The Ancient Science of Transmutation. This psychology of empowerment is not a modern invention. It is rooted in an ancient science, a sacred art practiced for millennia by the world's wisest civilizations. This is the science of inner alchemy, the conscious transmutation of sexual energy into vitality, longevity, and spiritual power. To truly understand this, we must travel back in time to the ancient mist-shrouded mountains of China. It was here, for millennia, that Taoist masters observed the natural world with a patience and a precision that today seem almost mythical. They wondered, why did some ancient trees live for thousands of years, while other organisms withered and died so quickly? Through painstaking observation, deep meditation, and direct personal experimentation, these sages reached a remarkable and revolutionary conclusion. The key to longevity was not just about diet or physical exercise, though those were important. The true key was the preservation and the careful refinement of the internal life force energy, what they called Jing. Jing is the fundamental essence that sustains all of life. This primordial essence, they discovered, resides primarily in the kidneys and is most potently expressed through our sexual energy. They taught that each time this precious essence is unconsciously released, whether through excessive sexual activity, uncontrolled emotional outbursts, or poor lifestyle habits, our fundamental reserve of vitality is depleted. As this reserve drains, the aging process accelerates dramatically. The great physician and alchemist Master Sun Sima declared with profound certainty, "The wise store their essence as the dragon guards its pearl. He who wastes his seed shortens his life." From this deep understanding, a whole science of inner cultivation emerged. Practices such as Jing Gong, the cultivation of sexual energy, and Neidan, the art of internal alchemy, were developed and refined over centuries. These sophisticated techniques taught the practitioner how to refine this raw essence, this Jing, and transmute it into Qi, which is vital, circulating energy, and then later to refine the Qi into Zhen, which is pure spiritual energy. This powerful, transmuted energy would then ascend through the spinal column, nourishing the brain, revitalizing the organs, and ultimately expanding the entire energetic field of the individual. This wisdom wasn't unique to China. In ancient India, the traditions of Tantra and Yoga also spoke of this very same sacred alchemy. The yogis taught that sexual energy, which they called ojas, when conserved and sublimated through spiritual practice, would feed the powerful coiled energy at the base of the spine known as the Kundalini, allowing one to reach states of profound illumination, vibrant health, and a long and purposeful life. Even in European Hermeticism, the transmutation of sulfur and mercury, the alchemical symbols for the masculine and feminine principles, was a central and recurring theme. Throughout the ancient world, sexual energy was seen as the very cornerstone of physical, mental, and spiritual development. So, how does this ancient science work? Imagine your body as a living, breathing alchemical laboratory. See it as a sacred temple, where each cell, each organ, and each gland functions as a vital part of a masterfully designed energetic machine. And within that sacred temple there is a fuel, a source of power more potent than any other, your sexual energy. Taoist teachings state that this energy, Jing, is the body's most precious raw material, cultivated in the kidneys and the sexual glands. The body uses massive amounts of biochemical resources to produce our sexual fluids. When those precious fluids are frequently released without conscious awareness, the body is forced into a state of emergency, constantly trying to replenish those resources, which slowly exhausts the kidneys, the adrenal glands, and our other vital organs. Over time, the symptoms of this depletion begin to manifest physically. Chronic, unrelenting fatigue, a noticeable loss of muscle tone, prematurely aging skin, hair loss, and a persistent mental fog that makes it difficult to think clearly. But what happens if we reverse the flow? What if, instead of constantly releasing this energy outward, you learn to consciously recirculate it inward? When you do this, something truly extraordinary happens. This refined essence, this potent elixir, returns to nourish the brain, the spinal cord, the internal organs, and the glands, strengthening the entire system from the inside out. This is achieved through 3 fundamental stages. First is activation of sexual energy. The very first step is to learn how to generate the energy without reaching the point of climax. This can be done through mindful self-exploration, or even more simply by stimulating the lower abdominal region through the practice of deep breathing into what is known as the lower Tan Tien. The idea here is to gently awaken the energy, to feel a subtle tingling or a pleasant warmth building in the pelvic area. You are stoking the fire but not letting it burn out of control. Second is ascending recirculation. It is here that the true alchemy begins. Through a gentle but firm contraction of the PC muscle, the pubococcygeus, which is the same muscle you would use to stop the flow of urination, and combining this with slow, deep, conscious breathing, we begin to gently push the awakened energy up along the pathway of the spine. Using our focused intention and our powers of visualization, we guide this stream of warm, vibrant energy through the central channel of our body. We move it upward, past the abdomen, through the heart center, and finally, all the way up to the crown of the head. The Taoists called this fundamental energy pathway the microcosmic orbit. The third and final stage is storage and transformation. Once the energy has ascended to the higher centers, it must be consciously stored in what are known as the 3 treasures of the body, the 3 primary dantians. It is stored in the lower dantian, located in the abdomen, to enhance our physical energy and vitality. It is stored in the middle dantian, located at the heart, to cultivate emotional balance and a powerful personal magnetism. And it is stored in the upper dantian, located in the head near the pineal gland, to foster mental clarity and sharpen our intuition. By consciously redirecting our sexual energy toward these vital centers, we deeply nourish our organs, we balance our emotions, and we expand our overall awareness. It is crucial here to understand the difference between this alchemical process and simple repression. The psychology of empowerment is not about violently suppressing your urges. Repression is like setting fire to a closed box. Sooner or later it breaks. Repression makes you smaller. Transformation is something else entirely. It is like taking that same fire and turning it into light. It's about recognizing desire, feeling its power, and instead of blindly following it, consciously channeling it in another direction. This transmutation makes you larger. This is the heart of the ancient science. Not to fight your nature, but to transcend it. Part 4. The Fruits of Empowerment. A reclaimed life. When one successfully shifts from a psychology of depletion to a psychology of empowerment, the changes are not merely subtle or philosophical. They are profound and life-altering. The fruits of this practice manifest in every area of one's existence, creating a reality of strength, clarity, and connection that was previously unimaginable. Let us first revisit the state of depletion. The constant drain of vital force leaves one feeling anxious, restless, and with a clouded, confused mind full of distractions. Procrastination becomes the norm, and projects fail to move forward. The power of manifestation itself is sabotaged, as the creative energy needed to attract positive realities is dissipated into emptiness. Now, witness the reversal. By breaking the cycle and learning to transmute this energy, the first thing to return is mental clarity. The mind that was once cloudy becomes sharp and focused. Your intuition strengthens, and you begin to see opportunities and paths that were previously hidden from you. Your connection with the divine, once weak and distant, becomes strong and clear. You begin to realize that the constant tiredness, lack of motivation, and anxiety were actually symptoms of the energetic depletion that was happening without your full awareness. Your spiritual protection is restored. The natural shield, once weakened, is rebuilt stronger than before. You become less susceptible to the negative spiritual interference that once kept you in a low-frequency state. The thoughts of doubt and self-sabotage begin to fade, replaced by a newfound confidence in your path. Discipline returns, not as a chore, but as a natural expression of your focused energy. The brain, no longer addicted to the easy rush of pleasure, finds joy and fulfillment in activities that require effort and commitment. The urge to study, to meditate, and to evolve returns with vigor. Your mission, which had been neglected and postponed, once again becomes a priority. The energy that was once wasted is now channeled correctly, and your life begins to flow better. Doors open, you meet the right people, and answers come more easily. Your power to manifest reality is restored, and the feeling of stagnation is replaced by a sense of forward momentum. This journey of transmutation brings forth a state of being that the ancient Taoists called the immortal body. Again, this is not literal immortality, but a state of being rejuvenated, a strengthened organism free from premature deterioration. It is the reversal of wear, the preservation of vitality, and the ability to live in fullness for longer. This is the true fruit of the practice: increased energy, mental clarity, emotional serenity, personal magnetism, and robust health. It is a life where youth is not a stage you pass through, but a state of your energetic field that you cultivate daily, when your energy flows freely, when your essence is preserved and transformed, your body radiates health, your mind clarity, and your spirit serenity. You become the alchemist of your own being, turning the lead of raw impulse into the gold of spiritual power. Part 5. Embodying the Wisdom. Daily Application. All of this profound wisdom only truly comes alive when it is embodied through consistent, daily practice. The ancient masters knew that it is consistency that serves as the key that unlocks the gateways to lasting and meaningful transformation. Therefore, it is essential to bring into your life simple but powerful actions that will activate, circulate, and refine your sexual energy, allowing you to turn it into a source of lasting youth and vitality. Here are 5 essential practices drawn directly from Taoist alchemy, adapted for our modern lives, that will allow you to begin this journey today. First, the practice of conscious abdominal breathing. Each morning, before you begin your day, find a comfortable place to sit with your spine upright. Place both of your hands over your lower abdomen, about 3 fingers below your navel. Now, inhale slowly and deeply through your nose, feeling your belly expand outward like a balloon. Then, exhale gently and slowly through your mouth, allowing your belly to soften and relax. Continue this for just 10 minutes. This simple practice not only activates the Tan Tien, your body's primary reservoir of vital energy, but it also deeply oxygenates your sexual organs and strengthens your entire nervous system. Over time, you will find that your natural everyday breathing becomes deeper and your mind grows significantly calmer. Second, the practice of gentle perineum contraction. Throughout your day, at any moment, whether you are walking, sitting at your desk, or working, you can gently contract your pubococcygeus muscle, the PC muscle, as if you were trying to stop the flow of urination. Hold this gentle contraction for just a few seconds and then release. You can aim to do 10 to 20 repetitions per set whenever you remember. This simple action strengthens the lower seal of your energetic body, which helps to prevent the leakage of energy and stimulates the flow of sexual qi up the spine. The Taoists said that this simple exercise ignites the lower cauldron, awakening the body's innate vitality. Third, the practice of the inner smile and organ massage. Once a day, either lying down or sitting comfortably, bring your awareness to your internal organs, your heart, your lungs, your liver, your spleen, and your kidneys. Gently smile inwardly to each of these organs, sending them sincere feelings of appreciation and gratitude for the work they do. Then, using your warm palms, gently massage the area of your kidneys in your lower back. This loving massage directly activates the Jing energy that is stored in the kidneys, reinforcing your most vital reserves of life force. Fourth, the practice of energetic recirculation, the microcosmic orbit. Before you go to sleep, or after your morning abdominal breathing practice, perform the energy recirculation. Lightly contract your perineum. As you inhale, visualize your energy rising up your spine all the way to the crown of your head. As you exhale gently, feel that energy descending down the front of your body, returning to your abdomen. Repeat this cycle 9 to 36 times. This powerful technique redistributes your sexual energy throughout your entire system, preventing stagnation and deeply nourishing your organs, your glands, and your brain. Fifth, the practice of conscious moderation and discovering your personal rhythm. The most important thing is to listen to your own body. This path is not about repressing your sexuality, but about finding a conscious and healthy balance. If you choose to release your sexual energy, whether you are alone or with a partner, do so without compulsion and with your full presence and awareness. Afterward, observe how you feel and adjust your frequency according to your own unique energetic needs. Remember the great Taoist principle: that which accumulates but doesn't flow creates illness. That which disperses without control drains the system. Virtue always lies in the balance. By integrating these 5 simple practices into your life, you will begin to cultivate, each and every day, a radiant vitality, a peaceful mind, and a rejuvenated body. We have journeyed through the deep and hidden corridors of sexual psychology, unearthing a secret that is timeless. We have seen that sexual energy is the most powerful source of life we possess, and that whoever consciously masters this energy masters their youth, their vitality, and their very destiny. In a modern world that overvalues the external, expensive treatments, drugs, and fleeting stimulation, this ancestral wisdom reminds us that true rejuvenation lies within, in the way we cultivate, preserve, and refine our vital essence. The choice is now yours. You understand the psychology of depletion, the internal drain that leads to a clouded mind, weakened protection, and a forgotten mission. You also understand the psychology of empowerment, the conscious path of transmutation that leads to clarity, vitality, and profound freedom. You have realized that sexual energy is not merely a biological impulse, but a potent alchemical elixir that can feed every cell in your body, expand your consciousness, and awaken your spirit. Beyond all the techniques, the most important thing you take with you from this journey is a new perception of yourself. You are more than just a body that ages. You are an alchemist of energy, a potential master who can choose each and every day whether to deplete or to cultivate, whether to scatter or to nourish, whether to age prematurely or to regenerate from the very depths of your being. This is not just a matter of self-control, but of spiritual freedom. Breaking the cycles of depletion isn't easy, but it is possible. And once you succeed, you will see your life begin to change in amazing ways. Always remember, youth is not a stage of life. It is a state of your energetic field. When your energy flows freely, when your essence is preserved and transformed, your body will radiate health, your mind clarity, and your spirit serenity. You hold the key in your hands. The path of internal alchemy doesn't end here. Each day is a new opportunity to distill your vitality, awareness, and personal power. May the light of your refined energy illuminate every corner of your life,